Hello, good morning. Been a while since my last video. I'm not sure really how to do this or what to do. I'm new to all of this, but I guess I'll give an update and just speak on some things. Well, first off, since my mother's passing, it's going on 2 years, and I've been doing a lot better. My children have been doing a lot better. And but things haven't been getting better. I guess you could say we just been coping with the aspects of her death, and I finally made it to the point where I can say she passed. That was very hard for me to open my mouth and say. Sometimes it's still a little bit hard, but other than that, it's getting there. But mainly right now, I've been struggling with some things that I've been dealing with since I was a child. And if you are not a spiritual person or even believe in just the spiritual realm or good and evil, however you want to say it, this is not for you. First off, let's begin that I was raised by my mom in pure Christianity. And I'm definitely believing in God, Satan, devil, however you want to say it, and good and evil. And there's good and evil in the world. There are spiritual aspects in the world that can definitely project themselves into your natural being and your natural life. As a child, of course, any kid is going to believe in that of what their parents tell them. As I got older, young adulthood, I kind of strayed away from those things, and not as far as like not believing in them, but more so as just not really taking heed, not paying attention, just wanting to be young and run around and hang out. As I got older, things in my life started to hit really bad, really bad. It was just little things that, you know, trouble here and there, just little petty things that didn't really think much, but then didn't mean much to me, just petty stuff. But then suddenly it started to escalate. And what I mean by escalating is that how can I say this? It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense at all as to what was going on. And even to the point that the people around me, my older siblings, because I am the youngest, didn't understand. Our family members didn't understand. At this point, my mom is still with me, and it's just me and my mother. One of the things that started off was the fact anything and everything I've tried to do just seems to fall through. And this has been ongoing my whole life. Again, I repeat that I am the youngest of five children. I've watched my siblings just everything falls simply and easily for them. It just didn't make sense. It's something out of a fairy tale or something. They never really had an issue. But with me, even in school, elementary school, I just always had it hard. Always. It didn't matter what I tried to do, what it was. I just always had it hard. And even as a little girl, I felt that something was just not right with me. Something is just not right. I don't, to this day, I don't know what it is, but I just knew that something is not right. I am different in some way, shape, and form. As time went on, I kind of adjusted to just how it is. I thought as an adult things would get easier, things would get better. I was wrong, completely wrong. It got worse and it got weirder. As I got older, I went through a lot of spiritual attacks. And again, if you are not a person that believes in this stuff, this might not be for you. Um, but yeah, I've went through a lot of spiritual attacks. Sometimes I will wake up. There was one time I woke up and it's dark in the room, and I saw this dark shadow light. It was into more of the corner of the rooms. My bed was by the window, like facing this way, and downward facing towards the door over to the corner. There's just this big black shadow thing. It looked like a man in a trench coat. Again, I'm not thinking much of it. Used to this stuff since childhood. I'm used to this event. I go to sleep. Whatever. I plead the blood of Jesus. I'm asleep. The next morning, I and go to apply for this job that they clearly stated they were hiring for. These people, I'm not sure if they were a new company that just opened up. Keep in mind, this is years ago, about almost 20 years ago. I'm not sure if they were just a company that was just opening up or something, but they needed people. And from what I've heard, a lot of people were stating to me that, hey, I applied and boom, I got the job. Of course, I'm a young mother at that time with my firstborn, and I need this. I need this. So I go up there, I apply. I was told that next day to come in for the interview and my schedule. Keep in mind that night that I saw this dark, shadowy man, again, not thinking much of it, I get up, go prepare for the interview and to get my schedule. I even asked my mom, told her, I said, hey, I'm going to start this job soon. Will it be okay if you watched, my son, your grandson? Mom, okay, no problem. I go in there. When I say I was hit with the most disgusting, disrespectful attitude ever. The way that this lady looked at me, you would have thought I slapped her mama. I didn't even know this woman. First of all, she wasn't there the day before. There was a guy there that took the applications. So I didn't even know she existed until I walked in and I let her know my name and everything. When I say she looked at me as if I was made out of pure, you know who, I'm sitting there, okay, I didn't think much of it because sometimes you run into people that have attitudes, whatever. I'm here for a job. That's my main focus. I'm sitting there waiting, right? Other people are coming in. I guess they applied at some point in time. These people are getting called before me. Keep in mind, I wasn't the first one, so I'm not going to sit there and lie and say, oh, I was the first one. I was probably maybe seventh to eighth person there. So of course the people that was in front of me that was there before me, they were getting called in the back. I'm watching them walk out with the little what I'm taking was their schedule sheets because back then you still got the little paper card schedule thing. If you remember, if you know, you know. But back then sometimes they will print you out a little schedule, look like an index card or something or whatever of your schedule. Now I think it's more of emailed or something of that nature. But keep in mind, this is 2007. So I'm seeing these people walk out there just smiling. Big old cheeseburger smiles. And they are happy. And I'm happy for them. So I'm getting excited like, oh, it's my turn. I can't wait to get this you know, I can't wait to get my schedule. I'm excited. I didn't get called. It's going on after lunch. People that came in after me have went in, came out, and went home happy. I'm sitting there. So I get up and I say, excuse me, I've been here for about 2 or 3 hours before half of these people that walked in, and I'm still not called. She said, oh, okay, well, just hold on. Let me go see. She comes back. The manager said he's going on lunch, so you're going to have to wait. Okay. She still has this attitude. Keep in mind, she still has this attitude. I said, okay, I really don't care. My focus is on this job. The guy comes back maybe an hour and a half later, probably close to 2 hours. He comes back. I see him walk through. I never saw him walk out. That's the weird part. I never saw him walk out, but I saw him come back in. So I'm sitting there and okay, they gotta be him. He looks like a manager. He had the manager type look. I'm like, oh, okay. I wait another 10 minutes, finally get called in the back. I'm like, finally. Go back there. You know how they say, put on your best smile and just, look joyful. So that's what I did. Walk in there, best smile. And I'm sitting there, introducing myself. Hi, how are you? Whatever the case is. Please excuse if my face looks dry. I don't know what's going on there. I moisturized, but okay. So I'm sitting there and happy, excited. He just looks at me. I mean, this look, if it was a knife, my head would be gone. He just gives me this stare like, and he just bluntly says, yeah, we're not going to hire you. I lied to you not. He bluntly says, we're not going to hire you. Is there a reason? Because I'm not sure if all jobs do that, but I know most jobs usually tell you, oh, well, we can't hire you because you need this or you have to have this experience. They kind of give you an idea as to why you are not being hired. I never got one till this day, 19 years later. I don't know. This is just one of many things that's weird. It gets bad. It gets worse. So in my head, okay, Mel, hey, maybe they just not hiring any more people. I mean, a lot of people did come in. Maybe they met their capacity is what's going on in my head. So yeah, I was bombed, but I didn't think much of it. Later that evening, I'm at home. I forgotten that I had already told another friend about this job opportunity. I wanted her to go and check it out and maybe we could work together, friends, young, whatever. She goes that afternoon. I keep in mind, my mind has pretty much forgotten about this. I'm on looking for other jobs while taking care of my son. I get a call. Girl, guess what happened? I'm like, what? I got the job. In my head, I again forgot that I have told her about this company. So I'm sitting there and saying, oh, okay, where are you working at? When she gets the name of this company, congratulations, but wait, what? I said, wait, they hired you? She says, yes. I said, well, I said, did you have to wait for a minute? No. She said, I went in there. I got called straight to the back, got my schedule, boom. Pretty much the same routine I've been seeing since I was sitting there for hours. I said, okay, I did kind of feel some type of way, but ultimately I was happy for her. Okay. A week. Keep in mind, I am feeling some type of way. I am thinking something, but not as much. Time passed again. I'm on to the next endeavors of finding a job. About a week and a half goes by. Maybe. Just to be on the safe side, I'm going to say 2 weeks. I get a call from the same friend. She had already started working at this job. She's telling me about it. Okay. She says, oh, and they just hired like 5 more people. Wait, what? Yeah, they just hired like 5 more people. And she says, well, how come you're not here? Like, you the one told me. And I was just, oh, of course, being embarrassed and not wanting to say anything. I was just like, oh, something came up. I'm gonna look for a different job. Just I made some excuse up relatively around that. I just I'm gonna find something else and kind of you know kind of just blew it off. I didn't want to tell her the real reason. I was definitely embarrassed. So she said, okay, fine. That still lingered on me, and in a way, it still lingers on me today. Again, a lot of these stories I'm telling you, some might be in order, some might not. Keep in mind, this stuff has been going on for 30 something odd years. I am 38, and a lot of them I just can't remember timelines, but everything I'm telling you is true. Everything I'm telling you is exactly what has happened to me. As time went on, it definitely weighed on me. Not just because that's weird that I didn't get the job, but the ridicule I had to go through from it because it wasn't just that job. I just couldn't find a job. It didn't matter where I applied. I just couldn't find anything. And keep in mind, all of this started happening after I saw this figure. After I saw this figure, all of this is happening the next morning after I saw that figure in my room. Okay. And it's months now. It's months. It's going on a year now. I have not found a job. I am constantly being rejected. And that doesn't sit well with my family. And my family, unfortunately, has this mindset as to where if I can do it, you can do it. There's no excuse. And to live in that type of environment is definitely not supportive when you're going through something that's unexplainable. Not to mention, they also have the mindset of if it didn't happen to me, or I didn't see it, or I never heard of anyone else going through it, it didn't happen. So I learned to keep my mouth shut. I learned to keep my mouth shut. I learned to just try to figure it out on my own. The only person that definitely stood by my side and believed everything I was saying and understood was my mother. Why? Because she endured the same thing when she was younger. She was just what some would say targeted. And I know I am targeted. I know this is not no spaz of the moment, no mental crisis. I just know that I am targeted. And again, as I continue to learn how to tell story times and make videos, you will find out. This has just been my life. Again, like I said, none of this stuff is in order. This is my first time really doing this, and I'm just learning the ropes. So please bear with me. Again, so back to the story. As time goes on, it's almost a year. I'm not finding anything. I'm just being rejected, just bluntly rejected. My sister, again, my family is ridiculing me. They're saying that, pretty much you're not a good mother. You are lazy. You're not trying hard enough. You didn't apply because I applied. I got a job, was all I was hearing 24/7. And when I tried to explain to one person what happened, they looked at me and said, that don't make sense. I never said it made sense. I just said it happened. That's one thing people need to understand. Just because someone says something happened, whether or not it made sense, the person is not telling you it made sense. They're just telling you this happened to them. Simple as that. Um, so with that, I'm just in a rut. I don't know what to do. I eventually had to apply for government assistance just to be able to feed my child and myself. I had a public house. I had public housing, and still, again, still trying to find a job regardless. Um, Other things, just still trying to find a job regardless. Another story. Well, this one was when I was actually younger. We had a 4-bedroom apartment. The My mom had a room, and one of the rooms she made into like our little toy room, and then the other room, it was 3 bedrooms. I'm sorry, 3-bedroom apartment. So one room was my mom's, the other room was our little toy room, playroom, whatever you want to call it, and then the other room was where my siblings and I slept. Now, because I was so much younger, I'm say around 4 years old, 3, 4 years old, I was not allowed to sleep in the room with my siblings Monday through Thursday due to the fact that they were in school, and I was kind of a hard case to go to sleep. I'll just say that. I was a difficult little girl to put to sleep. And my mom did not want me disturbing them because, again, they had to get up for school in the morning. So Monday through Thursday, I will sleep in my mother's room. And sometimes I would just wake up in the middle of the night. My mom sleep, everyone sleep. And I remember one of these incidents, I would be lying down in bed next to my mom. She sleep. And she always slept with her door open. And of course, the hallway would be dark. We had like one little nightlight that you get for the bathroom. We had that. In the hallway, my sister that's above me, had received, I forgot what those called. They're like these beanbag beanie boppers that you hit and it comes back up. You hit. She had one of those. If you're a 90s kid, you know. And I would see that it would be in a hallway. And it started off first as I would just see it move like this. Not so much like that when you hit it, but just like that. I didn't think much of it. Again, keep in mind I'm 4 years old. But then as time went on, I started to see two little kids. These kids were shadows. They didn't have color, they didn't have facial. It was just a shadow of a little girl, two ponytails like this, one here, kind of like Angelica from the Rugrats, if you know. She had that on. She had on a skirt and a t-shirt, and then the boy was a normal little boy. I could tell he kind of had a bowl cut. If you know what a bowl cut is, yeah, he had a bowl cut. And he and this little girl will always be in the hallway. Keep in mind, they never crossed the threshold into my mother's room, but they will always be in the hallway and they'll be playing back and forth, just, hitting each other. The children look between the ages of 6 and maybe 8 years old. Again, they're shadows. I can't see their faces or anything, but I can sense that these kids were staring at me. They would be playing and they would just like look at me like this. While still playing with each other. That's how it would happen. And they never spoke. They never said anything. I never heard anything. And I remember tapping my mom. And I'm like, Mom, there's some kids, Mom. And sometimes she'll just swat me and stop, go to bed. There's nothing out there. And I was so terrified. I remember being terrified of these kids. I don't know why. They never did anything. They never said anything, but I was petrified of these kids that my eyes would be locked. I was scooped so far up in my mother's bed, so close to like by her head, by the baseboard. I was scooped that far up. I was terrified of these kids coming into this room. This went on for years until we moved out of that apartment. This went on, and I remember one time they were playing again. They came every night on the dot, every night on the dot. And I remember one night they were playing doing their regular stuff. The little girl stopped and she faced completely towards me. Like she was this way and she just completely towards me. She stopped and she did like this. Even at 4 years old, I'm absolutely not. No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. First of all, I was terrified of getting out that bed because I knew if I got out that bed without my mom's permission. Okay, if you know, you know. So I was not even about to tempt that one just on that note alone. I was not tempting that. And I'm looking at her and she's just not speaking, not saying anything, just. And I was terrified. Something in my 4-year-old brain, my little 4-year-old brain knew not to get out that bed. Not just on the fact that I knew my mom would have popped me if I got out the bed, but I just knew something wasn't right. And again, these kids came every night. I don't know who they were. I don't know what they want. I never got out the bed for them, but they will always come and do the same routine. One night, my mom wakes up. She has to use the bathroom, and because I was 4 years old, my mother did not play with anyone wet in the bed. So whenever she got up to use the bathroom, she would get me up with her and take me to the bathroom too. She, of course, would have me use the bathroom first. Then she would send me back to the room to go to bed, and I would sit on the bed and wait for her until she came out the bathroom. One night, my mom gets up, time to go to the bathroom. I used the washroom. She let me get a tiny bit of water. She, again, not wanting me to wet the bed, so that's understandable. But she says, okay, go back to the room. I'm coming. I'm not thinking much of it. Keep in mind, my mom's room is like this. Here's the bathroom. The room right here is my siblings' room as to where I could not sleep Monday through Thursday. So when you come out the bathroom, you go down, bam, you hit my mom's room first. I go straight into there. My mom used to always have the TV on, you know, just that's just how she slept. She always had the TV on. So her room was definitely illuminated by some type of the light from the television. So I really did not fear anything as much. I run back. I get ready to get in the bed. Now my mom's bed was sat pretty high, so I would have to get on this chair that she had next to her bed. I would have to climb on that chair and hop over to get in her bed. I probably could have climbed up, but being 4 years old, I decided to be extra. So I will climb on top of her chair and jump over onto the bed. I decided to do this night. I come back from the bathroom, climb in the chair. I am getting ready to hop over into the bed. The moment I hop, I guess I kind of slid a little bit. I didn't catch it fully. So my leg was dangling down. And I remember vividly, keep in mind, I'm not asleep. This is happening in real life. I remember vividly something grabbed my foot and it tickled my foot. Keep it. Now, I did not laugh. Normally, if you tickle a 4-year-old, they are going to laugh. They are going to giggle, whatever. I didn't laugh. I was terrified. From what I seen, it looked like it was my brother, my older brother. It had on the same shirt that my brother used to wear all the time. At the age, I think he was around 11, and he had his favorite green stripe. It was a dark green, light green striped tank shirt that he loved to wear. And I saw this shirt under my mother's bed, and I saw the hand. The hand is literally locked on my ankle and just tickling my feet like this. I did not laugh. I did not laugh. I struggled to get away. The moment I heard, my mom used to always wear house shoes. She just did not like to walk barefooted on the floor at all. So I'm hearing her shoes. The moment I hear her shoes, whatever this was, let go of my foot. I'm thinking it's my brother. Keep in mind, my sibling's room is right here. You have to pass my mother's room first before you get to my sibling's room. And the bathroom comes first. So when you got the bathroom, mom's room, sibling's room. So the fact that my mother is coming out the bathroom, she could clearly see her room and the other room where my siblings are at. My mother comes in. So if my brother was really under the bed and he heard our mother coming, she would have clearly saw him come from under her bed and go straight back into the room, which he would have definitely gotten in trouble for. Again, 4 years old, I'm not thinking much of it. So I, as soon as my mom came in, I said my brother's name. He was tickling my feet. He was under the bed. My mom was looking at me. She's like, no, he's not. He's sleeping, which you need to be doing right now. And I'm like, no, mommy, he's tickling my foot. Again, I said my brother's name. I'm like, he tickled my foot. He grabbed my foot, and I didn't like it. I am in tears. And my mother's like, Celeste, no one is under the bed. No one's under the bed. Go to sleep. I just laid there and I'm stunned. To this day, I don't know what that was, and I can see it vividly. That's just one of the many spiritual attacks I've been going through. Like again, I said, I was 4 years old, that stuff was happening. Another incident, still 4 years old, still same apartment. My siblings, I wasn't in school at that time. My birthday is in November, so anyone knows, I think it's pretty much in every state in America. If your birthday is after a certain date, you have to wait the next year to start. So because my birthday is in November, I could not start school that year with everyone else. So I was still at home while my siblings would go to school. Usually during the day, my mom would do her cleaning. I watch my little Nick Jr. or whatever and play with my toys. My mom would be on the phone, laundry, cooking, cleaning, regular mother stuff. Our living room was kind of connected to, because again, it's a project building at this time, and the living room was kind of connected to the dining. Like my mom split the living room and dining room. It was just one big room, but she split it up. I'm there eating lunch, and mom made my lunch, and usually while I'm sitting in the dining room eating my lunch, around that time my mother would finish house chores, and she usually be on the phone with her siblings talking. I still remember that. And I would just be eating my stuff, playing with a little toy or something or whatever. I'm eating, and we're on the fourth floor of this apartment building. We are on the fourth floor. These apartment buildings are very high rise. So even though we're on the fourth floor is pretty up there. Um, I don't know if you all can look it up. They're tore down now, but we used to live in a Robert Taylor's project buildings way back in the early 90s. And if you look it up, you can see that the buildings are pretty tall. So even though we were on the fourth floor, we were still kind of high up. And again, like I said, we are raised pure Christians, believe in God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, whatever. I'm sitting there, I'm eating. It's a sunny day. All of a sudden, I turn, I look out my window, I see this huge figure. This huge, when I say this figure was from the ground all the way up to our building, our window. I'm looking at it. This is the image of they portrayed of how Jesus would look. A tall, a big figure in the form of a white man, brownish brunette hair, however you want to call it, in the robe, how they portrayed Jesus back then. Because now, as you know, they portray Jesus in so many different varieties, but back then he was mainly portrayed as a white person, no racial intended, but he was portrayed as a white person. And I'm seeing this. He's looking at me. I'm looking at him. Keep in mind, I'm not asleep. It's lunchtime. I'm eating my lunch. I'm looking, and he's just sitting out in the window. He's just looking at me. And I'm so shocked because what the heck is this? And again, I cannot make this up. I am so serious. This is what I am experiencing. And at first, I'm okay because it's Jesus, is what my 4-year-old brain is thinking. It's Jesus. I would constantly see this figure maybe twice or 3 times out of a week. Not every day, but pretty often. Never said anything to me. It would just watch me, and it would always come at lunchtime when I would be in the dining room by myself, eating while my mom is taking care of business. Whenever she would get off the phone, or even if she was still on the phone and she, for whatever reason, came to the kitchen to get something, that figure gone. And I remember one day telling her, and I'm just like, "Ma, I saw Jesus." And she's like, "What?" What would you think? Your 4-year-old just eating lunch and he just looked at you. I saw Jesus. So my mom's like, "You did what?" And I saw Jesus. She's like, "Where?" "Out the window." She said, "Out the window?" "Yeah, out the window." My mom's like, "Celeste." Well, she used to call me by my nickname, which was Sudu. And she like, "Sudu." Jesus was out the window. I said, "Yeah, he's really, really big." And I was like, "He's from the ground and he's as tall as where our window is." And I was like, okay, of course she's imaginative 4-year-old. But I was so serious. He's here. And I remember one day having lunch again, and she was doing laundry. Now, where our living room and dining room was set up right across. So this is the living room, dining room. Right here is the kitchen, pantry / laundry room. Everything was pretty much close, in a close vicinity due to the fact that it was an apartment, kind of a small apartment. She's right across in the pantry / laundry room because we had our washer and dryer in there, but there were still shelves to where she put canned goods and our food or whatever in. She's sitting there in the laundry room doing some laundry, and then I'm eating again. I look over to the side because this is like where I'm facing is how our table was, and over there was the front. Like in front was the front door where you walked in. Behind was the couch and stuff for the living room. On the side here are big windows, apartment windows. So I go like this. I see the figure again. I'm like, finally, I got you. And in my head, I'm happy. My mom's about to see Jesus. She loves Jesus. She's always praying. She's a Christian. Hey, and Ma, Jesus, he right there. My mom turned. She's, what? She turns. I'm like, he out there in the window. Look. My mom's like, Celeste, there's nothing out there. Eat your food. I'm looking, like while she's stating there's nothing out there, I'm looking dead at this giant figure. I don't even know what to call it. I'm like, no, he's right there. Like, look, he's right there. And mom's like, okay. Of course she didn't believe me. That next day, I don't know if by me snitching or whatever the case may be, but that next day came again. This time, my mom is not in the kitchen area. She's in the back cleaning or something, doing whatever. I hear her clearly on the phone, eating my lunch. The figure comes back. This time, this is where I realized, even at 4, I don't think it connected with me that this wasn't Jesus in such a way, but I just knew something was wrong. But I don't think I comprehend, okay, this is not nowhere near Jesus. It's just something is completely wrong. And that's because the next day, keep in mind, this is right the day after, excuse me, the day after I told my mom he's out there. The figure comes back normal way. It sits for a while, just watches me eat my lunch, no speaking or anything. I'm getting close done with finishing my food. I turn around to see if it's still there. I see him. This time the face is just like at the window. It's like, okay. And I'm sitting here, oh, okay. It kind of moved because it would kind of sit back like it was sitting on something and it would just look like that way, into the window. But this time it was just a full face in. Okay. I'm looking, I'm just, okay. I see, pretty much. That's when that figure said, keep in mind, I'm 4. I'm 4. I walk towards the window. Walk towards the window. I get close by it. No fear in me at this moment. At this point, still no fear. Still thinking, Jesus, okay. Walk over there. The figure somehow kind of moved a little bit away from the window. So there's like this gap, probably about this big, from my window to where he was at. Excuse my nails. But it was this gap. It says, I kind of lean out the window. Keep in mind, we're on the 4th floor. These buildings are pretty tall, so we're pretty high. I am 4. So, not thinking, the window was open. It was around springtime. So, my mom had it cracked open. Even though there were screens, she still had it cracked open for air. So, it moves a little bit more away from the window. And and by the time I'm like this, I happen to look down. I'm just like, hold on. And it did like this again. I stepped back. Then it looked at me as if it was disappointed. It looked at me. I'm not lying. This is real life. This is not no imaginary crap. This is real life. I sit back and this figure looks at me and hurt, disappointed. You're not going to trust me? I'm Jesus. That's pretty much the look it was giving. It's me, Jesus. You're not going to trust me? And I'm stepping back slowly, and for whatever reason, I knew that it wanted me to come out the window. Of course, I did not have the conception as to if I went out this window, I would not be here. I just knew not to come out the window. Like, I don't know. I really don't know how to explain that. I just knew not to come out the window. But I'm stepping back, and it's looking, and it's still. I'm so conflicted right now as a little girl because I was taught you don't disobey Jesus. You don't. You do what Jesus tells you to do. It's in the Bible. You do what he says. But I couldn't. I couldn't do what he said. I could not do what he said. And I'm standing there. Like, it's just right now, at the moment, it's just a standoff. This figure is standing there. I'm standing there, or floating, whatever. This tall, huge figure standing there. I'm standing there. And we're just eyeing each other. It moves a little bit closer. Like the way it moved up, it kind of looked like if someone gets ready to jump at you, like, what you say? It was kind of like one of those, and I jumped back, or whatever. But right at that moment that it jumped, it kind of jumped towards me, I could hear my mother coming back up to the dining room asking, am I done? Because usually after I have my lunch, she'll tell me to go take a nap. So she's, are you done? And I'm so stuck at staring at this window, I did not respond to her right away. And she's like, Suda. I jump, I'm like, huh? She's like, why are you standing up? Go sit down and finish your food. I couldn't speak at this moment. I could not speak at this moment. And for the first time, my mother can see this terror in my face. And she's, what happened?